I'll tell the story of the circumstances leading up to where we're at now. It started just before 9 o'clock this morning, where the sheriff's office received a 911 call of a man who was obviously injured, potentially deceased, at the Hussein Islamic Center, located just down the street here. That call was sent in by a woman who actually worked at the center. They have a daycare type of homeschool facility here, and it's quite common for people to start arriving at 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning with children. When our first female witness came on scene, she saw what appeared to be a pair of trousers at the front door, and as she walked into the business, she clearly saw that there had been some type of altercation. Chairs were moved about, it looked like a table was pushed around, and in the back window, it looked like a propane tank had been thrown through the window. And walking outside, she saw a body on the back porch, immediately walked out of the building and called 911. We responded 2 minutes later. As we walked inside, we found a 59-year-old decedent. He is an Iraqi immigrant. He had been the maintenance man at this facility for approximately 3 years, we believe. He had just recently received notification that his father had passed away in Iraq. He was planning to go back home, and he was in the process of training his replacement for the past couple of weeks. What we know, putting the pieces together, that there had been some conflict interpersonally between the two people, both him and the person that was replacing him, but it did not appear that there was anything violent up until today. As deputies walked through the establishment, just before deputies walked through the establishment, another woman pulled in. As she was pulling in, her report was she was familiar with the maintenance man, our victim. She saw his car at the gate, and somebody was out of the gate opening the gate that was not him. So our suspect was driving the victim's car. She saw that, she thought that was suspicious, but really didn't think too much of it. 2 other civilians arrived that also work here. Children started to arrive. No children went into the establishment. As soon as they found out that this was a crime scene, they gathered the children, they moved the children to a safe location, so they were not visible to any of this. On the inside, again, there was obviously some type of conflict. There's foldable chairs that are all over the place. There is blood that is dripped throughout the area, and there's a shovel that has blood on it. It is very likely that the weapon of choice to commit this homicide was the shovel. We won't know that until we fully forensically examine the scene and look at it, but it looks like the altercation started, that our suspect grabbed the shovel and used the shovel, blunt force trauma to the body. A lot of damage to the face area, extremities. Again, medical report will look at what the cause of death actually is, but just from a layman's eye, you can see that there was a lot of physical damage done. The suspect apparently pulled the victim out of what looks like the center and put him on the back porch, and it appears that they hosed the body down and hosed the back porch down, probably clearing from evidence or whatever the case is, because we found our victim with undergarments on, no shirt, no pants. Again, pants are at the front door, shirt is soaking wet next to the body as we find him. He's laying on his back, his hands at his side, what is consistent with probably somebody pulling off a shirt and the body laying back. As soon as they get out there, we do investigative work. We saw a cell phone on the inside of the establishment, what later became our suspect's cell phone. What is very likely is probably he reported to work. He probably put his cell phone down inside of the establishment, and using policing technology, we were able to find out who has a cell phone. We put immediately, once we found out about this circumstance, a be on the lookout information for the vehicle, and encourage people to be very cautious if they come in contact with the driver. At that point in time, our frame of mind thinking is, we can't change the circumstances that happen here, but we want to make sure that if anybody comes in contact with this potentially extremely dangerous person, that they use extreme caution. We had the license plate because we knew it was the victim's vehicle. We entered that into our technology systems and ultimately received an alert on that license plate in Indian River County. We have been working with the FBI, the FDLE, and the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. I've been in constant contact with Sheriff Flowers down there. They ultimately come in contact with the driver and the vehicle in a Sam's Club parking lot. Some type of altercation occurs when the suspect gets out of the vehicle, and they are now investigating a deputy-involved shooting at that location. I don't want to get any deeper into the details of that because I think that that's Sheriff Flowers' scene, and he has complete right to explain that. What we do know about the suspect in this case is he's been shot at least several times. He is still alive. He is somebody who was born, I believe, in Egypt and has spent most of his life here in the United States. So again, that's what we know. That's what we have. We have been working with the president of the Hussein Islamic Center, which we have had a great relationship with him and many of the leaders here to ensure that we're providing victim advocate services with their grief counselors that are here to adhere to the protocols. But one of the most important messages to get out is, one, the victim and the suspect were known to one another. This is not a situation of a random act that somebody wanted to target a mosque and go on there. This was clearly a transition relationship that had some friction in the past. It was a worker here, somebody who was working and replace it, physical altercation that ended up being a homicide investigation. It looks like the weapon of choice to commit the murder. Not 100% on this, it looks like the shovel. And there was no other threats in this particular area. We will continue to work with the FBI and other partners to answer some of the other questions about their background, whether there's a nexus to anything larger than this. What at this point in time, we don't have any indication. Typically you go down this path, people ask questions about terrorism and all of those things. There is no indication that any of that is existing at this point in time other than a conflict that occurred here at the establishment. So with that, that's the high-level briefing. That's what we've been working on, and I'll answer any questions I'll try to.